What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Homeboy Brand channel. In today's video, we are going over the overview of NFL Week 18. Let's just get straight into this video because there is a lot of stuff to get into. So our very first game of I guess this was on Saturday. It technically wasn't on Sunday, but the Carolina Panthers beating, or actually losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 16-14. Bryce Young, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Baker Mayfield, 200 yards, pick and a touchdown. Only 10 yards rushing for the leading rusher of the Panthers. If you only have 10 yards rushing as your leading rusher, obviously you're going to lose. But this game was insane because not only the Bucks needed to win this game, but they also needed a different game to help them get into the playoffs. So it was a really weird thing where they beat the Panthers, but they still ended up missing the playoffs. So the Panthers are in the playoffs. The Bucks end up missing the playoffs. But there was a lot of controversy over like a fumble out of bounds. I'm not really going to get into that because it doesn't matter. The Panthers made it into the playoffs anyway. But with a losing record, obviously, as you can see, they're 8-9. But they are hosting the Rams in the wild card. Now, whatever you think about the seeding system, obviously, I don't think a team with a losing record should ever get in, unless it's a wild card somehow. You get in with a losing record in the wild card, but we'll get into the game that ended up deciding the Panthers to get into the playoffs in just a moment. But first, the Seattle Seahawks end up securing the number one seed in the NFC, beating the 49ers 13-3. Sam Darnold had 198 yards, 20 for 26. Brock Purdy had 127 yards and an interception. Christian McCaffrey had 23 yards and a very crucial drop, which turned into a pick. Kenneth Walker, 97 yards. JSN, 84 yards. But the Seahawks are the number one seed in the NFC, number one overall seed, tied with the Broncos in the NFL. Overall, this was kind of a boring game. It was a lot of people expected this to be like one of the best games of the weekend. Obviously, it wasn't. 13-3. You never want to see that unless you're just one of those guys who just enjoys watching defensive football. I do, but sometimes it's just get too boring. But the Seahawks end up securing the number one overall seed in the NFC, and they will have a first round bye. Next up is the Colts losing to the Texans 38-30. CJ Stroud started this game, but after the Jacksonville Jaguars got up big time on the who did they play? The Titans. They ended up pulling all their starters because they weren't going to win their division unless Jacksonville lost and they won. Obviously, they ended up winning anyway with Davis Mills in there playing quarterback and all their backups in. Riley Leonard ended up getting the start over Phillip Rivers. This was a really close game through, and then Riley Leonard had a kind of like a game sealing drive. Fairbairn went up, and then it was a really weird play where it was like they're doing the lateral thing, and then the big boy, the lineman, picks up the fumble and runs it in the end zone. So that was a really fun thing to watch. But the Texans are in the playoffs. I forget who they play, but they're in as a wild card. Next up is the Browns beating the Bengals. Not a great game, as you can see. Joe Burrow did have 3 touchdowns, even though they only had 18 points. So that's interesting. But the main story of this game was Myles Garrett getting his 23rd sack of the season. Absolutely insane. Setting the all-time sacks record. We barely ever see anybody get over 20. So when there is, you just know that they're a special talent. So shout out to Myles Garrett. He got that done. The Browns offense really didn't do a lot. I know they had a defensive touchdown. Devin Bush had a 97-yard pick six off Joe Burrow. So that was where his pick came from. But not a lot of offense from the Browns. You can see 111 yards from Shador and 32 yards as their leading rusher from Dylan Sampson. So not an incredible offensive performance. Only 200 yards total for them, and they end up winning though. So next up is the Falcons securing the Panthers seed in the playoffs with a 19-17 victory. Tyler Shuck kind of had a rougher game than what he's been having. 259 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Kirko Chains had a pick and a touchdown as well. The main reason people were like watching this game was because of the playoff implications it had. Not even for any of the teams in the game, which is crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen this happen before. With the Falcons win, if the Saints would have won, the Bucks would have been in. But I don't understand how any of that works. But The Falcons win. Panthers get into the playoffs. I think they're gonna get smacked by the Rams, but they at least got in. Next up, this is gonna be a boring game. Clayton Tune and Malik Willis end up only putting up 3 points for the Packers as they beat the Minnesota Vikings 16-3. Nine had 182 yards. Obviously, this is just a boring game. I don't even know if there was any touchdowns. Okay, C.J. Ham had a 1 yard rush for a touchdown, and that was the only touchdown. The Green Bay Packers had -7 passing yards. -7 passing yards. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. I know, like when the Lions lost to the Vikings on Thanksgiving, or not Thanksgiving, on Christmas, they had 3 passing yards, I think. Um, well, that is disgusting. Packers sneak in as the 7th seed. Then they are playing the Bears. Next up, an absolutely rocking win for the Jags. They end up winning their field goal, their division, 67-yard field goal. Great. Brandon Allen ended up coming for an injured Cam Ward this game. Trevor Lawrence had 3 touchdowns in the air. Travis Etienne only had 32 yards, but this game was just a blowout through and through. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about this game because obviously the Titans just got shit on. Next up is going to be the Giants beating the Cowboys at home. They ended up losing themselves a chance at the #1 overall pick. Jackson Dart had 2 touchdowns, 103 yards from Tyrone Tracy. Joe Milton ended up coming in for Dak Prescott. Cowboys had a disappointing season, 7-9-1. Giants 4-13. I mean, I don't think a lot of people expected a lot from the Giants anyway. But next up is going to be the Rams defeating the Cardinals 37-20. Matt Stafford 4 touchdowns. Jacoby Brissett had 2 and an interception. But nobody expected the Cardinals to win, and they obviously didn't. Next up, maybe the worst game of the week. Not a single touchdown scored. 14 points for the Raiders. That is because of 4 field goals and a safety. The Shane Bukaki, I don't even know. So this is the 4th stringer for the Chiefs. That's great. Aiden O'Connell had 102 yards. I thought Kenny Pickett was playing, but I guess maybe he went out. Anyway, terrible game. We'll just move on from this. Next up is Pats beating the Dolphins. I mean, who didn't expect this? Drake May had a touchdown. It's looking like it's going to be Matt Stafford for MVP. He's kind of slowed. Drake May has kind of slowed down these last couple of weeks. Other than he had 5 touchdowns against the Jets a week or 2 ago. But Matt Stafford has 45 touchdowns. I think Drake May only has 30 something. I don't see how he wins, honestly. I mean, he did take the Patriots from 4 wins to 14 or whatever. But if I had an MVP award, it'd be to Matt Stafford. Next up, the Commanders beat the Eagles 24-17. Get themselves to 5-12 on the year. Josh Johnson had a clutch touchdown at the end of that game. Tanner McKee, he started both of these last games for the Eagles the last 2 years. The Eagles got out to a lead, and then obviously Josh Johnson had a game-winning touchdown. Jake Moody, Michigan legend, bouncing around a lot of teams this year, but ended up kicking a clutch field goal for the Commanders. Next up, the Detroit Lions beat the Chicago Bears in Week 18 to be 9-8 on the year, 19-16. Caleb Williams had a very bad interception, just on the arm putt, pretty much. But Jake Bates drilled a 34-yard field goal to win the game. This is only the second time since 1933 that all 4 teams in a division have finished with a winning record. It was the AFC North in 2022 or 2023, and the NFC North this year. So crazy division. The Lions season is getting ended, and the Bears season will get ended next week anyway. But that's besides the point. I don't care. Let's move on. Next up, the Broncos beat the Chargers. Trey Lance ended up starting this game. Chargers really weren't playing for all that much. Broncos were playing for the #1 overall seed. They do get it. Bo Nix leading passer and rusher here. But a very boring game. Not a lot of scoring or anything. Chargers really never stood a chance. Next up, in the final game at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo, the Bills beat the Jets 35-8. Brady Cook had a touchdown and only 60 yards for him. Mitchell Trubisky, 4 touchdowns. Josh Allen didn't. He started the game. He did 1 handoff, and then they pulled him, so he could keep his starting streak. But 4 touchdowns from Mitchell Trubisky. Obviously, that's just ridiculous sentence to say in 2026. But good effort from them. They brought the red helmets back. Oh, those red helmets give me hormones. But final game of the week, the Ravens and Steelers. Tyler Loop, I think is his name, misses a game-winning kick to lose the game, lose the division. Lamar Jackson had 3 touchdowns, absolutely carried his team. 47 passing attempts from Aaron Rodgers here. Aaron Rodgers did have a very clutch touchdown at the end of that game. Lamar Jackson drives him down the field, gets him within field goal range. I think it was a 44-yarder for Loop, and he just missed it, hooked it right. But with that, these Steelers do not go 9-8. They finally go a game better than that. 10-7, still the most mid franchise in the NFL. But I guess mid is better than being bad. But that's all I got for you guys. NFL playoff content is coming soon next week. I'm so happy, excited, even though my Lions missed the playoffs. But that's whatever. But if you guys like the video, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, comment your guys' thoughts on Week 18. Comment if you guys have any video ideas that you want me to do, and I will see you guys in the next one.